Welcome to my channel. My name is Iris, and today I would like to continue sharing my experience of iron deficiency anemia. If you haven't seen my first video on explaining what iron deficiency anemia is and also discussing the symptoms and causes of iron deficiency anemia, you can click on the link in the description box below. But for today, we will be talking about my treatment and recovery process for iron deficiency anemia. Specifically, you will see that I went from a ferritin level of 2, which is very low iron, to a ferritin level of 200, which is a good amount of iron. And also my hemoglobin, which was in the low 100s, also increased to 140. Without further ado, let's get to today's video. So how did I come to treat my IDA? Well, the first things first is that the heavy periods had to go. So my doctor actually suggested me to go on birth control. The first type of birth control that I used was the MiniPill. So these were the progesterone only pills. You don't have any estrogen in them. And what happened was it was making my periods heavier because of the lack of estrogen. So that imbalance was causing more bleeding. So in the end, after going in and out of the ER because of the bleeding, the emergency doctor actually prescribed me the estrogen progesterone pills, and the brand name I believe was Ales 20 the first time that I went into the ER for the heavy bleeding. But unfortunately that wasn't a strong enough dose of estrogen for me. The bleeding was still going on and still heavy. So in the end, the next time I went into the ER, that emergency doctor, he gave me minovrol 30 micrograms of estrogen. So that was an increased dose, and that helped a little bit better. But then I was told to take the birth control pills continuously without a break, and that actually leads to more often breakthrough bleeding. So that's one problem with the ongoing blood loss that I was having while I was still iron deficient and also anemic. So the second way of treating my IDA was to also take iron supplements to help my body build up my iron. And the brand that I used was Ferromax, and I was told to take 2 a day, 1 in the morning and 1 in the evening. I took my morning Ferromax dose with vitamin C through orange juice, and then for my night dose of Ferromax, I took it with kiwi. Also, iron supplements, you need to space them out between your meals, and also from calcium. So if you are having breakfast in the morning, you want to have your iron pills 2 hours before that, so that you are having it on empty stomach, and also taking it with vitamin C to help absorption. Whereas in the evening, you want to take it 2 hours after your dinner. So iron absorption from iron supplements are actually fairly low. You usually only can absorb 10% of what you intake. So unfortunately in my case, my iron was really low. It was at the ferritin level of 2, right? So in a sense, with all the ongoing bleeding and then my slow change in diet over time, it wasn't enough to really help me build the iron stores in my body. Rather, it was helping with my anemia. The iron was taken and used right away to create healthy red blood cells. So the supplements themselves weren't the best treatment for me. In fact, after a couple of months of taking these supplements, I didn't get good blood test results. My ferritin was still at the level of 2. So I did talk to my family doctor about it, and we discussed the possibility of having iron infusion. So the iron infusion is actually really helpful because it's for people who have ongoing blood loss and aren't getting good results from supplements. And it could be many reasons why the supplements weren't effective. Of course, you should definitely speak to your doctor about the possibility of iron infusions because they're not for everybody. But in my case, it was definitely more effective because it's intravenous, so it goes right into your bloodstream. You don't have to worry about it going into your through your digestive system. Yeah, you also don't have as much side effects like constipation, like you would with iron supplements. However, with the infusions, there are other types of side effects like having a mild fever, stomach cramps, muscle aches. Those are some of the things that I experienced after having my infusion. But before I talked to my doctor about this, I did do my own research, went online, and one of the websites that really helped was Iron Maiden. And there was a nurse on that website who was really experienced with iron infusions, and she did say that a ferritin level below 20, that would be a situation where that person would get the most help from iron infusions rather than just changing their diet or taking iron supplements. And yeah, I also visited a UBC website online that talked about the different types of iron that are out there. I learned that Venofer or iron sucrose is a very common option where I live, which is in Vancouver, BC. And I got my iron infusions done at the hospital. 3 doses were prescribed, and each dose was around 300 milligrams of iron. Each infusion was around 2 hours. The first time they went with an hour and a half, and because I had a mild fever after, they did a slower infusion. But yeah, after the infusion, 4 weeks later, I did take a blood test to see how my levels were going and doing. So, like I said in my intro, that my ferritin level actually went to 200 and my hemoglobin level went to 140. So, from looking at that data, I'm technically no longer iron deficient or anemic. I would say I am on the path towards recovery, and hopefully I won't become iron deficient or anemic again. So during the treatment of my IDA, I also made changes in my diet. Specifically, the first thing was completely avoiding coffee and tea. Second was to get 3 meals a day. So during breakfast, I would have iron fortified cereal, and during lunch, I would have red meat, and in the evening, I would have chicken or fish. And also during lunch and dinner, I also tried to get leafy green vegetables to help with iron intake and also to absorb the iron. So from this video of me sharing my experience of IDA, I think it's quite clear that iron deficiency is quite difficult to diagnose until it has become iron deficiency anemia. So I think the best thing to do is to have preventative measures towards iron deficiency. Some things that you can keep in mind is to get your recommended amount of iron each day for the age and gender that is appropriate for you. In my case, I am a female between the age of 19 to 49, and those people would need 18 milligrams a day. And on top of that, if you are a vegetarian, you would need 2 times the amount because non-heme iron is more difficult to absorb than heme iron. So you'll find non-heme iron in plant-based products and heme iron in animal foods. Also, if you are menstruating or on your period, you would also need to have a little bit more iron for those days as well. And to take even better preventative measures, if you aren't or you don't feel like you are iron deficient but you want to keep a lookout, you can request for annual blood tests from your family doctor to just see how your iron levels are going. It's actually the best way to look at your ferritin levels to see if you are within the range of being stage 1 iron, having an iron depletion, stage 2 having actual iron deficiency, and 3 if you have iron deficiency anemia. And if you were going to check for IDA, you would also need to look at your hemoglobin levels to see if you're anemic. An important point I want to also talk about is for female post-secondary students who are just starting their undergraduate studies or are currently doing their undergrad. Yeah, you need to really be aware of what you're eating, how much iron you are getting each day, and to be careful with how you're consuming coffee and tea, because I know all university students rely on those to really help them get through their schoolwork and late nights and early mornings. So definitely be careful with that. I just want to leave off with hoping that this video can help people in a similar situation as me. I thank you for stopping by and listening to my experience. And I also want to thank all the frontline healthcare workers that were helping me with my condition during this pandemic, as they were very kind, understanding, and very patient. And I really appreciate all the work that they've been doing during this pandemic. So I'll see you guys next time with a new video. Bye!